Good morning and welcome to Transwest Truck Trailer RV in Frederick, Colorado. I'm Brian Moritz. Today I get to walk you around a 2020 Newmar Dutch Star 3736. This is a pre-owned unit, but you'll see as we go along here, it's in fantastic shape. So just while we're kind of out there a ways, this unit has Wiley exterior graphics. Now this is a full body paint. No stickers, no decals that are going to crack and fade over time. This paint job will hold up as long as you keep it nice. So while we're kind of away there, we're going to go ahead and start with just some of the options that this coach has on it. So this coach is equipped with the Girard Nova awning package. So what that means to you as a consumer is you get the over the entrance awning here. You see there's a nice LED light strip in that one. You also get these nice window awnings on both the driver and passenger side of the motorhome. Now these window awnings do a couple things. Mainly, they keep the sun from beating down into the motorhome. Okay, so for better insulation. And then Newmar does a great job with their windows being dual pane and tinted. So what that means for you is it'll keep it warmer in the winter and cooler in the summer, just extra insulation for the consumer. Also, that Girard Nova awning package means you get the two integrated roof mounted awnings. You see how they come out and then drop down just a little bit. That just, depending on sun's position, it gives you more versatile shade for while you're sitting underneath them. Both of these awnings do have wind sensors built into them, so if they start bouncing too much, they'll just go ahead and automatically retract. So, and I put those out. We have just a little Girard remote here. A lot of people will actually mount this down in one of these storage compartments, but I put them out with that. But let's say that remote gets damaged or broken or something. You have an extra controller here to put these awnings in. So just quick touch of a button and away they go. I'm just gonna put the one in for now so that we can look at the second one, just so you can see that they can be controlled individually. Depending on where you're sitting and what you're doing, you might want to have one out and not the other. A couple different options and things you can do here. We'll start going through some storage. In the very front compartment, just a big storage bay. Notice that it is carpet lined to keep things from sliding around while you're driving down the road. This coach is equipped with the prep. If you wanted to put that Dometic refrigerator freezer combo in here, you could. It's got the 110 volt as well as the 12 volt, which is the exact same thing they put in there when we actually order that refrigerator freezer. In the slide out here, we have a 32-inch Samsung HD TV as well as a Bose soundbar for all your exterior entertainment needs. Back one compartment, we've got the manual slide tray. Now on this slide tray, I actually pulled apart the central vacuum toolkit. So this coach has a central vacuum system. A couple things that come with it. For vacuuming the floor, you get the turbo brush, okay? Now you also have a nice extension with that so you don't have to bend over and try and use it that way. For getting into the tighter spaces, just a little angled attachment, and then two brush attachments for your cars or storage compartments, and then a nice long hose so that you can move around in the motorhome. I'll show you where you attach it on the inside, and I'll show you where you attach it on the outside if you're doing your vehicles. Now this bay here on the front side of it is a full pass-through bay. So if you have fishing poles or longer items that you need to, this is a great place to keep them because you won't have to break them down. You just slide it in and it'll tuck away there. And then over on this left side, we do have two 110 volt outlets as well as two our awning controllers there that I showed you just a minute ago. Behind that bay, we've got our pegboard with a storage tray. So what most people do, what I would do with this bay, a couple extra quarts of oil, maybe a fuel filter, an oil filter, some tools, just all your emergency stuff. Great place to keep it. You can keep it well organized. Back behind that bay, or back behind the pegboard I should say, is going to be your 105-gallon freshwater tank, which is why it's not one of the deeper storage compartments. Now this bay is about a 3/4 pass through, again, carpet lined. If you wanted to, we could absolutely put a tray in there for you like you saw in the other bay where we can pull it out to us. Now also in this compartment, we have our InterVac central vacuum system. So this is where we're going to change the filters. You can plug the hose in down here if you wanted to, vacuum your car or something like that. You can do that all from that compartment. And that's going to run directly off of the power from the motorhome. Back here, just one more storage bay. This motorhome is 37 feet, 11 inches overall length, so they're trying to pack as much storage as they can in there. And on the 37, 36, they really nailed it. And then in the last compartment on the passenger side, we have our chassis batteries. So these two batteries right here, their only job is to start the engine. And then we also have a chassis battery disconnect. If you're putting this coach in storage for an extended period of time, you can shut that off. That way you don't have any small draws that'll kill your batteries. As we come around the back, we have full fiberglass rear cap with LED marker lights, backup lights, brake lights, turn signals, all that, all LED. So a couple things to notice back here. We have a dual camera system. Both of them are going to be HD cameras, so we have a high and a low angle depending on what you're doing. If you're backing it up, you can adjust the angle that you're looking at. If you're looking to back it into a space, you can make it go as far back as you want to. If you're trying to hook it up to the trailer, you can use that top camera and look directly down at the hitch so that you can see where that trailer ball is. The 37-foot Newmar Dutch Star is powered by a 450 horsepower Cummins ISL. That is a turbo diesel, 450 horsepower, 1,250 foot-pounds of torque. So one thing Newmar does very well, or Freightliner I should say, with the XDR chassis, is we have our transmission dipstick, our engine oil dipstick, engine oil fill, fuel filter, oil filter. Everything is very accessible, so if you're the kind of person who does your own maintenance, you don't have to crawl up inside of that compartment to get to things. It's all right here for you. Down below, we have a 2-inch receiver with a 10,000 pound towing capacity, as well as a 7-pin connector for those trailer brakes and trailer lights. Coming over to the driver's side, side-mounted radiator on this coach. Now that does a couple of good things for you. One, more airflow. Back behind that's going to be your transmission cooler as well as your turbo cooler. So that's all getting more airflow. But more importantly, it gives us the access to work on the back of the engine like I just showed you when we opened it up. Right here, we have our 10-gallon DEF tank, as well as just a little bit of sewage hose storage. Very, very nice of Newmar to give you a dedicated place to put that hose. In this compartment, now you can use this little bit of storage that's here, but the most important thing about this bay is we have our 50 amp power cord on a reel. So this power cord does have a nice little indicator light here. So when you plug it in and turn the breaker on, this will actually show you that you have power. If that light's not on, you know you don't have power. And then once you're done camping, to put it away, you just push the button. It'll wind itself back in. Yep. And then this is going to be our water base. So just a couple things to look at here. We have a hot and cold outside shower. Now in conjunction with that, we also have a water pump switch where we can turn on the water pump to use this to spray off the dogs, the grandkids, whatever, before they go into the coach. Hot and cold low point drains, a tank rinse valve, a sewage rinse connection, so you could actually hook up a hose to this and wash out your black tank. Water fill valve, whole house water filter, and then your freshwater inlet hose. So there's a couple of different ways you can do this. You can either A, fill up your tank with it, or B, you can use it as actual city water if you have a water connection to plug it into. And then once you're done with that, again, power hose reel, push a button and away it goes. And then down below, we've got our gray and black tank drain. So gray valve, black valve, okay? And this little head here does pivot to make it easier to get the hose on and off of it. And then just a screw in cover once you're done, just to keep the road grime from getting up inside of this bay. This bay contains our Oasis system. So this is our hot water heater as well as our furnace. Now this coach is all electric, there's no propane at all. So this runs off of either diesel fuel or electricity, just depending on what power source you have available to you. It's about a 50,000 BTU heater, and it'll run hot water as long as you have water available. This compartment's the other side to our pass-through that I showed you on the other side. So you can see the tray there. The white thing is the tray that I pulled out on that other side, but full pass-through from passenger side to the driver's side. And last but not least, we have our 8 AGM 6-volt house batteries on a tray. Newmar does a really good job. If you ever needed to change these batteries and you're going to do it yourself, you don't have to climb into that bay and try and lift a 60-pound battery out. Instead, you just bring the battery to you and lift it up straight out. Newmar also does a great job with this heavy tray of making it a dual locking system. So we just have a mechanical pin here, drops down. Very, very simple system, makes maintenance a lot easier on the consumer. Right here, we have one of our fuel fills. We do have a dual side fuel fill on this motorhome. So we can fill it from the driver's side or the passenger side. 100 gallons of diesel fuel total. And then in the very front, just an electronics bay right here, we're going to have all of our fuses for the chassis. So all of your Freightliner fuses. If we pull on that lever there, we're going to open up the hood to this Newmar Dutch Star. Now this is a gas prop assisted hood. It's not one where you have to go and put a little prop in there. Now we have some access to some electronics here, but more importantly, we can pull our generator out. So our 8,000 watt Onan quiet diesel generator is on a tray. Again, if you're the kind of person who does your own maintenance, this makes it a lot easier to change that oil. Or it's just easier for the shop in general. Now this is a used coach. This generator has 57 hours on it, so very lightly used. At Transwest, we are Onan certified, so we will go and service that generator prior to this coach ever leaving our shop. And then also up in here, we have an air line. That's going to be using the Freightliner compressor, the compressor that Freightliner installs. If you need to fill up your tires, your beach toys, whatever, you can do it all right there. While we're in the front, we'll just take a look at this. The stock number for this unit is 5U210303. Again, it's a pre-owned 2020 Newmar Dutch Star 3736. That's pretty much going to wrap up the outside of this coach. So one thing I do like to point out for Newmars, we have the tri-mark handle here. We have a 4-pin key or a 4-digit keypad, so we can set a different pin, and that will lock and unlock the coach. Now we also have an entry unlock fob. We can lock all of the entry doors or the cargo doors with just the push of a button, as well as the entry door. We can also lock and unlock it here. And then last but not least, right on the inside of this door, there's another button for our cargo bays. So we can lock and unlock those bays from in here as well. And then just a patio light and your house battery disconnect, all located right at the entrance point. So we're going to do this video a little different from how I usually do it. We're going to start in the cab area. It's going to yell at me for just a second here as it turns on. Okay, so over on my left side, just a couple things to look at. We have our control pad for our HWH computerized leveling. So all this means to you is when you get to your campsite and you're ready to set up, because you always get there at night for some reason, you just hit auto level. It's going to dump the airbags, it's going to put the jacks down and level this coach out. And then when you're ready to go, hit auto store. Very easy system to use. You can do it all manually as well, but once you get used to auto leveling, you won't want to do it manual. Right here we have the controls for our power mirrors, so we can adjust both the driver and passenger side mirrors from right here. This red switch is the mirror heat for those cold and foggy days to keep your mirrors from getting grimed up. Traction control override, and then something you don't see very often on Class A motorhomes, a power window with a switch right here. Over here we have one USB port as well as an auxiliary in for the radio. So if you want to plug your phone in, you just plug it in right there, and then you can listen to the music on the radio. Our parking brake, house and chassis battery boost. So if your chassis batteries were dead for some reason, we could pull power from the house batteries to start the engine. Wireless charging pad for your cell phone, so you can just throw it up there. It'll charge while you're driving down the road. Headlights on. And then we have the LCD dash. Now in this dash, we've got a couple of different things. Most importantly that I wanted to show you is when they ordered this coach, they actually optioned it with adaptive cruise control, so on-guard collision mitigation. So we can adjust our following distance by just the touch of a button on the smart wheel here. And if you're the kind of person that doesn't like adaptive cruise control, you can also just set it to standard cruise control. So then it won't slow up or speed down, it'll be all manual. Okay, going back, we can look at our gauges. So we've got, right now I have it set up for your distance till empty, the gear that you're in, and your turbo PSI. Something very easy to change. Oh, I pushed the wrong button. So let's just say I don't need to know what gear I'm in. I can scroll through the options. There's our transmission temperature, our DEF level, barometric pressure. That's kind of a cool one just to watch. Engine temperature, engine hour meter, 203 hours on this engine. Oil pressure, RPMs, engine load. There's a bunch of different things that you can look at. A lot of it, doesn't mean much to people, but barometric pressure, it's cool to watch a train change as you go up and down in the mountains. So on-guard collision mitigation with the Mobileye as well. Now over on the right we have the dual screen setup. So we have a dedicated camera screen here. This one's right now showing us our rear view camera. If I turn on a blinker, we're now looking at the left side of the motorhome. I left that front compartment door open. Well, let's look at the right though. So you can see there's no blind spots here. It does give you a nice wide angle view, especially for those of you who aren't used to driving something 38 feet long. It really does eliminate blind spots for you. Right here we have just our standard radio. This is going to be AM, FM, Bluetooth, Sirius XM, and then it also has navigation built into it. Now this is Rand McNally navigation, so I can go to RV tools here, RV info, and I'm going to put in the parameters of this motorhome. So it's a 38-foot Class A without a tag axle. There's no propane, but we can change how it routes us. We can do a couple different things here just to make it work for what you need. So right now we have it set to route more like a truck, so it's going to keep us on the highways. If we route it for pleasure, it'll take us on the cool back roads of America that you don't get to see very often. Down below here, just a bunch of switches, visors, everything's going to be power. So if I push this one, the right side visor is going to come down. If I push this one, the front visor is going to come down. That's just more of a sunscreen than anything. And then shade, I can push this one and we'll get a full privacy shade. This is for when you're sitting in your campground, it's night out, you got lights on in here, you don't want people seeing in here. So really easy there. Overhead fans back behind these cabinets. There are fans. You have a high, medium, and low section for that, or option for that. And then right here we have our generator start and stop. Entry lock for the entry door. Air horn on and off. You should always leave it on. It's more fun. Courtesy lights, visor, and then another camera switch there. So we're gonna do a little dance. Well, actually, we can go over this first, and then we'll do our dance. So up above your driver's seat, right above the driver's seat, are going to be all of your Newmar coach controls. So over on this side, we have our Magnum panel. That's the control for our 2800 watt Magnum inverter. So we can turn it on and off. We can also control our charge rate, things like that. We'll go over all of that in your walkthrough. WineGuard, Wi-Fi Ranger right here. So we can set up our Wi-Fi password and all that. Right here, we have our controls for our Oasis system. Remember, that's going to be our heater as well as our hot water. Now we have 3 different options of how we can do this. So burner on, that means that we're going to be using diesel fuel to provide heat and hot water. Or we have AC1 or AC2. So that Oasis system has 2 electric elements in it, just depending on how cold it is and how much you need it to work. But AC1, AC2, the only time you're going to be able to use those electronic elements is if you're plugged in or running the generator, which at that point, if you run the generator, it's probably better just to use the burner anyways. The awning controls for those side awnings that I showed you, as well as the entrance awning. Lights all the way up here. our slide outs in and out, and then our power control service. So right now I'm not plugged in. I don't have the generator running, so it'll just say no service. But if I plugged it in, it would show us our 50 amp as well as how much power we're taking in. And then last but not least in this compartment, we have our tank capacity. So this is going to show us we're empty on everything right now, fresh, gray, black. Now you have 105 gallons of fresh water, 65 gallons of gray water, and 45 gallons of black water. This is going to give you a percentage of those numbers of where your tanks are at. We can also look at our house battery power as well as our chassis battery power. So we're at 12.69 volts on the house and 12.31 on the chassis. Both of them are full. And then water pump on and off. And then we can also autofill our tanks. So the valve down in the water bay, if we hit autofill, it'll change automatically and fill our freshwater tank. And then at this section, we have our HVAC controls. Now this 37-foot motorhome does have dual zones. So you have a living room, bedroom. So we have two roof-mounted 15,000 BTU air conditionings with heat pumps in them. So if we wanted to turn them on, it's not going to work because I don't have it plugged in. But you just cycle through the mode until you get to what you want. You have cool, auto, heat pump, furnace, fan, and off. So real easy system there. Now we'll do our little dance. So I started with this motorhome slides in just so you could see the space that you have to walk through here. Now again, I'm 6 feet tall, I'm about 240 pounds, and I can walk through this motorhome with no issue, okay? If I want to get to my fridge, I can do that. I can open both doors. If I need to get to my bathroom, now this is a bath and a half model on a 37-footer, but I can easily get to this half bathroom. Now, if for some reason you wanted to take a shower while you're driving down the road, you would have to crawl over the bed, but you could do it if you wanted to. Now we'll get these slides opened up and we'll go through some of the interior specs of this coach. One thing I love about Newmar is the off-door side slide. So your driver's side slide is hydraulic. So when I push this button, the hydraulic pump that's down below fires up to move it out. But most importantly, once it gets all the way extended, we're gonna watch it drop down about 3 inches. So now that it's down, there's no step up onto this slide. This is more floor. So we have the same tile floor that we have in the center on the slide without any step up and no carpet. Now we'll extend the door side slide, so your passenger side slide. Now that one's all the way out, so we have a nice big area here in the middle, a gorgeous full tile floor. Now in this floor we also have electric radiant heat. So that'll work if we're either A, plugged in, or B, running the generator. But that'll give you actual extra heating so you're not burning as much diesel fuel. Or well, so you're not using as much electricity, I should say. And Newmar does a great job because you actually have the electric radiant heat inside of the slide out as well. Something that you don't see in a lot of manufacturers. Give me just a second here and this one will go out, or be all the way out. The interior decor package of this one is also going to be Wiley, which was a 2020 option. So that's going to be your window valances, your cover pillows that the coach comes with, that kind of stuff. So we'll start kind of over here on the, actually, we're going to go over one of my favorite options first. So this coach is equipped with MCD power shades. So I've got 2 remotes here. So these 2 remotes, one's going to control the front, one's going to control the rear. I would recommend putting them in the one that controls the rear in the bedroom because that's where you're going to use it. But with the touch of 2 buttons, I just dropped down all of the night shades in this motorhome. So, and we can also do day shades. We can do a couple different things. We can also control them individually. If you wanted this one above the counter down, but not all the others, we can do that. We can control them all individually as well. Turn on some accent lighting here. So up in this front corner is going to be our light switch. So from here I can turn all of our lights on, all of our lights off, and then also our accent lighting, which is going to be in your slide out fascias. So coming over to the door side of this motorhome, we have the 58-inch jackknife sofa sleepers. So for those smaller kiddos, you can drop this down into a bed. I got a seatbelt jammed in there, but there we go. You can drop that down into the bed for the smaller kiddos. It also has 2 seat belts built into it for safety. Now also directly behind that 58-inch sofa sleeper or jackknife sleeper is going to be a 50-inch Samsung HD TV. That is a smart TV, so you can set it up you know, to use your streaming services, Netflix, Hulu, Peacock, whatever you use. I'm going to turn some more lights on here. Let that continue to come up. Up top, we have great storage, as well as an AV compartment. So storage in this one over here. Now you see this little gap here. The reason that the Newmar does that is we actually have the same amount of insulation or wall thickness in our slide outs as we do in the roof, just to keep this coach nice and insulated. And then right here we have an AV compartment. If you felt like putting a satellite on this coach, we could hook it up so for either Dish Network or DirecTV to be mounted right in there for your receiver. Up top, Bose soundbar. Coming back into the kitchen, 30-inch convection microwave oven. Little spice jar or spice rack up top. Some nice deep storages along here. Newmar does a great job at making all of your everything in your cabinets very accessible with a nice pull-out drawer. And then the shelf carpet line so things don't slide around. It's also adjustable so we can move it up and down as needed. One more small storage there. Down below, solid surface countertop with a 2-bowl residential undermount sink. Now this faucet does have a sprayer that you can pull out just for helping you do some dishes. And then over here we have our true induction 2-burner cooktop. One thing I always love about Newmar is cutting boards underneath your this is your cover for your cooktop, but they put cutting boards under there just so you don't have to have extra or use extra storage to carry those around with you. And then Newmar also makes this very cool to where your true induction cooktop is just removable. There's a 110 volt outlet out here that you can unplug, or behind here you can unplug. So now we can take this cooktop outside and cook with it on the camp table if we wanted to. And then when it's time for it to go back in, just plug it in back behind and then set it back down in there. Now it is recessed in there, so you don't have to worry about it sliding around or anything while you're driving down the road. And then go ahead and put your covers back on. More storage under here with all your drawers. So we have some remotes, as well as the original touch-up paint that came with this motorhome, as well as just a couple extras. Very nice big drawers. Now each one of these drawers is a quiet close, so you don't have to worry about slamming them. They'll slow down for you. Little silverware tray here. Very, very deep drawers lengthwise. And then 2 more pull-out trays here. One of them comes with a trash can on it. RV manufacturers like to forget that you need a trash can, but Newmar does a great job. And then a very long, skinny drawer there for cooking utensils. Coming around to the driver's side of the motorhome, we have the booth dinette. So lots of room here. Now this dinette does extend, and there's 2 leaves that we can put in here just to make extra seating space. There's also 2 folding chairs that will match the decor of this motorhome that usually are stored underneath the bed. Storage all along the top here. I'll get some more lights turned on for us. So very nice big deep cabinets over here. And then down below, we've got the Lambright theater seating. Now this is something that the previous owners put in. I'm assuming it had a couch in it at one point. But these chairs are actually very, very comfortable. They are power extend for the recliner. And then in the middle, we have just a nice armrest with two cup holders. And then once you're done, push the button and away it goes. Now also we have a nice storage drawer right here with a little bit of remote storage so that you can keep your remotes right here and not have to look for them throughout the motorhome. Which is going to bring us back into kind of the center of the coach. So like I said earlier, this is a bath and a half 37-foot motorhome. So here in the middle we have our half bathroom. So we've got a Dometic electric flush toilet. And then great storage cabinets all around. And then also on the inside there is just a sink as well as a medicine cabinet. So we talked about it on the outside, but right here we've got our connection for our central vacuum system. So that's where this is where that hose is going to plug into. And then you can go and vacuum the coach. You also have a little kick pad here to turn on your central vacuum system. So you can actually just sweep the dirt to right here and turn it on, and it'll suck it out and into that container down below. Here we have a 19.7 cubic foot Whirlpool residential refrigerator. Again, there's no propane on this coach, so this is going to be purely electric. Now, this is a very nice refrigerator. If you need to put milk or things like that in it, this one just pops down. Just to give you a little extra height. You got a water filter canister up here. Because this refrigerator does have water in the door right here, as well as an ice tray down below, or an ice maker with a tray down below in this French door refrigerator. And last but not least, we do have a lock right here. So just slide it and it locks that refrigerator for you. Now, I want to point out, because people get scared of being electric, but this refrigerator, I'm not plugged in. Again, I'm not running the generator. This refrigerator is on, the lights are on, it's cold. That's running purely off of that 2800 watt inverter and those 8 AGM house batteries. In the middle of this motorhome, we have a nice pantry. So each of these drawers pulls out. We can adjust the height as needed of these as well. And then pushes in, and it locks really nicely so that it doesn't rattle around while you're driving down the road. And then there's also the locking mechanism up top there, just to lock the door for an extra fail-safe. Coming back into the bedroom, we've got storage, wardrobe on the driver's side here. Now that's a great hanging storage area. In the middle, a 32-inch Samsung HD TV again. Down below, just another solid surface countertop. This is a great place to keep your keys, phone, wallet, that kind of stuff. And then we also have an emergency egress window. So, in a case of emergency, you could just push this out and jump out of there. But also, it acts as a storm window, so you see how it pushes out. So even if it's raining, you can have that open. It will stay open to provide some airflow in here. And then 5 drawers and 1 AV compartment. So this AV compartment is going to be for this rear HD TV. If you're going to put a satellite on it, we'd put your receiver right here. Again, all quiet closed drawers. But great wardrobe area. Over here we have a 60 by 80 queen bed. Now this is a sleep number bed. We've got the remote for it right here. So we can control left and right side, air it up, air it down as we need, just depending on how firm you want it. Underneath, so this is just an extra storage. We've got the 2 folding chairs for the dinette, as well as the 2 leafs, which are still in factory packaging, meaning the other previous owners never even used them, as well as all of our manuals for Newmar, as well as Freightliner. Just tucked away under the bed, out of the way. Drop that down. That gas prop assisted bed is very light. It's not hard to open it up. Cabinets up above the bed. Notice we have two 110 volt outlets up there. So there are holes on either side of these cabinets where we could run, you know, a power cord or a CPAP hose down through there, so you don't have to find a place down here for it. We also have just general coach controls underneath this cabinet, so you can turn the lights on and off, start and stop your generator, control some shades and everything like that from back here without having to get out of bed. And then two little nightstands on either side of the bed. Coming back into the master bathroom, we've got, first things first, for safety, we've got the emergency egress door. So if there was ever an emergency and you needed to get out of this motorhome, couldn't make it to the front, you can come right here. If we pull on this little latch here, there is a built-in, this is just a magnetic latch here. There is a built-in ladder that'll drop down. I'll put that back on in a second. And boom, away it goes. We have a dual locking mechanism here just for safety. Controls for the bathroom shades so you don't have to go find your remote. On the right side here. And then another Dometic electric flush toilet. This coach is also equipped with the Splendid stacked washer and dryer. So if you're going to be living in it for an extended period of time, it's always nice to have a washer and dryer. Single sink, solid surface countertop, undermount sink. Big medicine cabinet. Two 110 volt outlets there. Down below, plenty of storage for all your toiletry needs. And then one more hanging wardrobe in the back. Now this hanging wardrobe also has a safe in it to keep some valuables that you would like, or that you would like not to go missing. And then last but not least, we have very residential style shower. So I'm gonna get in here just so you can see some space, but lots of room. You have both the rain shower head as well as the manual sprayer, little assist handle here, and then last but not least, we have the little teak wood foldable shower seat. So again, 240 pounds, and I can sit on it just fine. But as you can see, there's a ton of room in here to get what you need done. And then on this door, we do have just a nice little locking mechanism so it doesn't start banging around while you're driving down the road. So, and I think that's pretty much going to wrap up this this 2020 Newmar Dutch Star 3736. I mentioned it's got the two 15,000 BTU air conditionings. Just for people, or just to recognize, this is a used 2020. It's got 8,749 miles on it as of right now. That could, you know, go up just a little bit over time, but it's not going to be much more than that. So again, I am Brian Moritz with Transwest Truck Trailer RV. If you have any questions about this unit, feel free to give me a call at 303-482-6375 or shoot me an email at brian.moritz@transwest.com. Thank you guys so much for tuning in, and we'll see you next week.